management that we are the oldest brand to be at the Basel Fair. So today it's our 90th anniversary. It's an important anniversary for us. But it's also a key moment because I will have the pleasure to share a moment here with my friend Felix, who really did something completely exceptional to push Zénith back in the first position as we used to be for more than a century. So I think that before we start talking, it's time for us to look at the movie we have here ready to remind us what he did. Thank you.
Pictures that we see here, very emotional, and me from my side I want to welcome everybody here as well. My name is Anina and I have the honor to go through with you guys the next half of an hour, especially with these two misters next to me, and I'm sure everybody in here knows a lot of Stratos, the whole project already. And since we have the honor to have the CEO and President Mr. Dufour here as well today, of course we want to look to this whole project from that angle as well. So we'll have a chit chat here, the three of us, and of course in the very end, about 20 minutes later, you guys feel free to have questions, so take your notes if I don't ask something you want to know. First of all, Felix, very nice to have you here. Of course, I want to know, when you see these pictures, what goes through your mind? It's been a half a year ago, almost, that the project has happened. Do you sometimes think it was a dream and then you realize it actually happened?
No, it was not a dream. I never thought about that. It's actually that time right now where I enjoy this, because while I was doing this, when you stand out there at 39,000 meters, you can see the curve of the Earth. The sky above you is totally black, but you have absolutely no time to enjoy that moment, because first of all, as soon as you disconnect the oxygen hoses from the ship system, you only have oxygen from your bailout bottles, and they provide oxygen for 10 minutes, so you better hurry up. So I took a 10-second breath, enjoyed that moment for only 10 seconds, 5 years of hard work are almost done, and then I stepped off. When I look at this right now, I can see so many things, and it looks so beautiful and so quiet, It was a very peaceful moment when I was standing up there. And I would rather watch this from this position right now than doing it again.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Why is that?
Because it's so dangerous, You're in such a hostile environment, and just everything relies on your team and your technique and your preparation, and there's just a little thing that could go wrong and then you might die. And sometimes it felt to me like it's overwhelming, And that's the reason why I would never go back to that place. I would never jump again, because that means I'm still exposed to the same danger. I broke the speed of sound as the first person in history, so there's nothing to accomplish here.
You mentioned it took 5 years of preparation for the whole project, and that's somewhere in that period where you from Zénith jumped in and supported or entered into a partnership with Felix, and you have talked about the risk. You could technically have died that day, so I'm assuming as well for you as a partner it was kind of a risk. Was it challenging to decide, yes, we're gonna be partners for that Stratos project?
You know, actually, when I joined Zénith back in 2009, I had a big challenge, which was to connect the brand with its DNA and the gene of the brand. And actually, when looking into the archives, I noticed that Zénith went through many things. The first flight over the Channel, the discovery of the South Pole, many world premiere actually, which were a little bit forgotten by the people. So I was really looking for somebody trying to do something new, which never existed before. And I had a chance to meet Felix.
When was that? And how did that go?
It was early 2010. And then the first time we met, you know, sometimes in life things they can be quite slow if you try to make it very complicated, or they can be very easy if you have a direct connection and you have like a feeling of trust. And when Felix explained what he wanted to do, I was like, wow, this could be really, for us being a partner there, a key stone, a key moment, a milestones for the brand, and really for me also the opportunity, I repeat, to connect what we do now in the 21st century with the past. And I was like, you know, completely passionate about what he told me. And I think that the common character, common point we have together is that we're both passionate. And this is what made him, through his whole life, achieving this supersonic speed. Record, I remind you, not broken since 1962, actually, when nobody never reached supersonic speed. And it's the same for me. You know, Zénith has been a leader for 100 years. Then from the 70s, the history of the brand started to become very complicated. We lost market share, and the whole idea is really to bring back Zénith in the first row, first position, as being the best alternative.
So you had the first encounter together, and then he told you about the project, and then you right away were like, all right, we're going to be in? Really?
We had lunch, and at the end of the lunch, I told him, okay, I want to be in. So how do we do?
Really?
Yeah, really.
Right away.
Right away.
And were you aware of the risks you might be taking there?
Actually, there were two risks, because as you know, Zénith is owned by LVMH, which is the #1 luxury group in the world. So I had to talk to the shareholder on one side and also talk to Felix to find an agreement. So it was a kind of managing two risks, because it's something which was really out of the box. So quite a lot of people who were hearing for the first time about the project were a little bit surprised. You know, wow, what is this? You know, are you sure? But what's behind that? And then when you were explaining the whole concept, of course, people started to be convinced. And then regarding Felix, you know, of course, there were risks. When you talk to this gentleman next to you, and when he tells you about the level of technology, the level of training, the level of knowledge, the people around him, because it's all a question about team. And then you can only be convinced that there is a risk, but that risk is not that big, actually.
And so you take risks.
I love risks, actually. Yeah, that's it.
Right. Do you as well remember that moment, and what did it mean to you to have such a partner as Zénith?
Well, first of all, I really have to say I do have a lot of respect for Jean-Frédéric Dufour, because if you look at
Thank you, Felix.
the watch business, you know, it's easy to sponsor common things like Formula One, soccer, you know, because if it doesn't work, nobody will blame you for that, because they have been doing this for many, many years. And back in 2010, when we both came along, Red Bull Stratos was nowhere. You know, we were.
Yes, and nobody really talked about that project yet, right?
Right now, it's easy because you can see the result. You know, it's clear.
It's huge now,
and it looked professional. You can see these guys have been doing their homework. You know, but back in 2010, we were right in the middle of the project. We had a lot of problems, a lot of up and downs, and he had the guts, you know, to say, hey, I completely trust you. You're the professional person. You tell me risk, and he signed up for this, you know, and it paid off. So I'm more than happy for Jean-Frédéric Couture and for the brand Zénith that it all worked, because no one else would have been willing to take that risk except Dietrich Mateschitz from Bâle and Jean-Frédéric Couture from Zénith.
I'm glad that you make a compromise with Dietrich Mateschitz, you know, thank you.
Yes, it is impressive to see only these two logos, Red Bull and Zénith. That is quite unique, I think, for nowadays sport. And you mentioned that while you guys met in this phase of 5 years period to prepare the whole jump. I mean, it happened. Luckily, it went all well, but I'm sure there was ups and downs. You said it yourself. If you think back these 5 years, do you remember a moment where you were like, all right, I think it's not going to happen?
Oh yeah, I remember it really well, because in the beginning, when I was testing a pressure suit, I only had to remain in that suit for only 1 hour. And I had to fight in that hour, because it's really, really difficult inside a pressure suit. The only thing that you can hear is yourself breathing. As soon as you put your visor down, you're locked into your own little world. And every time when I had to accomplish an hour, at the last 10 minutes, I kind of felt like I'm getting claustrophobic and I have to get out of that suit, you know. But I couldn't, because I had all these cameras around and I was supposed to be the hero, so you cannot address that problem. Then later on, we had this big test lined up in Brooks, where the goal was putting me inside the suit, and I have to sit in that capsule for 5 to 6 hours and push all the buttons and switch all the dials. And we could simulate extreme temperature and extreme altitude. So I knew this big test, 5 or 6 hour test, was lined up. And again, nobody tell that I have this problem, you know. So the only way that I had was I had to escape. So I went on a plane in LA at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I just escaped. I went back to Austria.
Really?
Oh,
Out of it?
Yeah, I just
Didn't tell anybody, just left?
I just called the project leader, mission director, and said, hey, I can't do it. Sorry for letting down my team, but I cannot do it. I'm just too scared inside the suit. And that was an interesting fact, because everybody thought about supersonic speed and all the danger that's involved up there at 39,000 meters. No one ever thought about that Felix Baumgartner has a problem inside that suit on the ground. So I was trying to find help, and I talked to another psychiatrist. He is an American, and he was working together with the best athletes in the US. And he helped me within 3 weeks to get rid of my demons, and 3 weeks later, I was back on the track, and I was able to spend 5 to 6 hours in the suit. And this was a key turning moment in this mission. To me, it's still the biggest miracle that somebody is able to change your mind from, I cannot spend 1 hour in the suit, and within 3 weeks, you sit there for 6 hours, and this suit almost became my friend.
Did you know about this?
Yeah, he told me. He told me, yeah. Of course, and I mean, on the other side, we were waiting for him to jump, you know. And I was always asking, yeah, but Felix, when is it going to happen? You know, I have some pressure on the back, you know. And he goes, yeah, don't worry.
I have pressure all around me.
So it was quite difficult, you know, to be actually ready with everything, because the time frame was not so precise. We were always telling, okay, the next possible window will be maybe end of the year. Then we missed this end of the year. Then we had to go through the whole procedure again and start from test jump number 1 and 2 and so on. So we were always waiting, and until the last moment when everything happened, actually, it was like just a pressure that inside Zénith we have to hold, because people were just curious about when is it going to happen, you know. And
I could tell, I had lunch with these two guys, and they're like friends, which surprised me a bit, because I thought these official partnerships sometimes, you know, are about the logo and for the media maybe. But you guys really seem to be very private, kind of, not private in a, you know, I don't know what kind of way, but you know each other, you're like friends, right?
Of course, because we share a lot of emotion together, doubts, you know. He was talking about, you know, having problems. I had my problems. We share them, and it's a good way to develop of course, to develop a relationship. So we started to know each other much better, and it's always much more easy in life when you can get relationship with somebody than just, you know, buy the book or buy the letter or whatever. You know?
And if the chemistry is right.
Of course, definitely.
You have talked Yeah.
A good indication that we are real friends is he was invited to my birthday party. That's last year. And there's only family and my close friends, and he was there. I picked him up at the airport with my helicopter, flew him out there for my party. We landed right there. So we had a lot of fun.
And I told my wife, yeah, okay, be dressed because maybe it would be like 500 people, you know, and we just arrived there. There were like, I don't know, 10 or 15 people around the table. So, yeah, you're right.
So it is very
You are part
a
of the family.
personal relationship.
And if you want a real experience one day, you go in a helicopter with Felix behind the, how we call it, the stick, you know. I mean,
Because that's what you do.
you
like
won't forget it for the rest of your life, I promise.
Why is that?
You know, I mean, he knows.
Try it.
Yeah. I think he wanted to see how far I was holding the pressure. You know?
Oh, really?
But he forgot about my wife on the back, you know. So.
So you were happy about that?
I had some trouble and went back in the room, you know. So anyway.
Okay, but still, it was all about this watch, this collaboration, or a lot of it at least. And you spoke a little bit about it, and we're all aware of technical challenges, physical challenges for this project, and as well this new watch that has been produced for the jump. Can we say that like that?
We can say that like this. You know, so, as I told you before, Zénith has a very long, maybe one of the longest history together with the world of aviation, pilot's watches. Actually, the very first pilot watches we produced were pocket watches where we mailed lugs for gentlemen like Bâle when they first flew over the channel. It was in 1908, 1907. We also produced the first flying instrument, the altimeter, everything. So we had then in the 60s the Carelli watch. I'm sure some of you knows about that watch, which was made for the Italian Air Force, not mentioning the Second World War. Then we had, back in the 90s, a watch called Rainbow, which was designed for the French Air Force. So we really had a kind of a shape, identity, knowledge, emotionally speaking, but also technically speaking.
A new challenge.
Yeah, of course.
Minus
it was
70 degrees Celsius.
There were a new challenge for Zénith and together with Felix to produce the watch that he could wear up to 39 kilometers, minus 70 degrees, no pressure. And the big challenge was that they were like 12 degrees in the capsule, if I do remember well. And then when opening the door in like not even a fraction of a second, from 12 to minus 70. So for a watch, it's the worst thing which, you know, can happen because it's like what we call thermal shock. And we were not able to test the watch in that conditions actually, because you cannot reproduce the speed of sounds on a watch. So we really had to test the watch in all different kind of tests that the human is able to develop, invented, but still not supersonic speed. So I have Daniel Noir, who is the head of development. I think he stopped sleeping for 2 weeks before Felix jumped, because he was a little bit scared about like when the door opened, the whole watch was doing like poof, you know. But then we said, Felix, don't worry, everything will be all right. And actually, the watch you have here in front of you is the real watch which reads speed of sound. It's the first supersonic watch, and it makes Zénith really part of a small club of iconic watches of the Swiss watch industry. For example, the deepest in the Mariana Trench, the first one on the top of Everest, or the one which is on the moon, and now we have the fastest one. So not so many watches were part of breaking really key records through our history. Now we have it, and it will be there forever. So you have in front of you the new icon. On the top it's El Primero. I think I don't need to explain what is El Primero. So it's really, you know, how to make an icon, go on and go on and go on.
And it belongs to you.
Yeah, luckily Jean-Frédéric forgot to put it in.
You like to talk about that, huh?
I like that so much.
Yeah.
Because I guess you have an emotional relation to the watch, no? It's the first one that hasn't fallen down that fast and flew so high.
I mean, this is not just a watch, you know. This is the first and only watch that flew supersonic speed on the wrist of a human outside an airplane, you know. And even if the preparation for Ripple's job was 5 years, pretty much my whole life, I've been working for that moment, because since I've done my first skydive when I was 16 years old, this is where everything started, without knowing where that journey is gonna lead me, you know. That's why I love this watch so much, and I'm more than happy that John Frederick forgot to put this in the contract, that after the jump, that watch will go back to Zénith. He forgot about that, and that's where it belongs.
This is my big mistake. I'm very jealous, you know. I mean, I can only see it through official events, so you know.
Or
that's it.
Or you visit my house.
Yeah.
If you want to ever see that watch.
No problem.
All right, and as we said already, and we all know, it's been a half a year ago, the jump, and we all look forward to what? In a look of Zénith and Felix Baumgartner, how long is that relationship gonna last? Any longer, or what's the plans?
No, depends that, you know, together with that world of aviation, exploration, we have a new collection this year called Pilot. Yeah, I mean, the name Pilot is owned by Zénith. We can write it on the dime, so it's really a brand name, registered, and not new. It's something which has been forever in our books, and we are launching a new collection based on the Type 20 watch that we launched last year, which made a huge success, and we have a dual time, an annual calendar, and a tourbillon. So it's a whole world, a whole new world beside the El Primero collection, which is really the backbone of Zénith, and the Captain, which is timeless, and Academy, of course, which is on the top. And now we have something together with Felix, younger, more attractive, you know.
So he's
something
going to stay part.
Emotionally where you can get a strong connection.
So Felix is going to stay part of it.
Felix is going to stay. Felix will stay forever with Zénith.
What are your plans for the future? I want to have a last look back before we look into the future. In this last year, 6 months, what have you been doing?
Well, I was crazy because since I've done this jump, I've been constantly on the road, doing a lot of speeches. I went to the headquarters of the United Nations. I was invited by Ban Ki-moon, and he wanted me to become an ambassador of the United Nations in terms of young people. I've been on multiple shows like Jay Leno, met Tom Cruise, Eva Longoria, so right now I'm having a lot of fun.
And having a lot of fans.
You know, I'm still receiving pictures and drawings from a lot of young kids, because we definitely touched their heart. They've been inspiring those kids, and they send me a lot of drawings, which is, to me, is the biggest honor. They also say thank you, Felix, for our personal moon landing, which to me is bigger than any award that I received so far. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, is that what you get out of this whole new experience, of course, but what you take with you forever is probably
the kids.
The feedbacks you get.
Yeah. And if you ever look into a kid's eyes, you know, they look at you and you're their role model, their hero, they want to become another Felix Baumgartner. That's definitely a great honor.
Oh, that's nice.
So I think, Felix, that we're running a bit out of time. So before we start with the question and answer, I have a little surprise for you. I know you like surprises, so you know.
We're still not going to change.
No deal. It's just a present, you know. I'm very happy to offer you, you know, the first officially released new Type 20 48mm dual time.
Want me to touch it?
Yeah, of course. You can touch it, wear it, do what you want. Okay.
All right. Are we done with the picture so we can sit again?
Oh.
Or shall I?
No, it's okay. Please come in.
Yeah? Thank you. All right, we said it. We're a bit short on time. Thank you very much
Love it.
for this chit-chat. Let's see. Oh, beauty.
Yep.
Do you sometimes wear this one as well? Never.
Never. No.
That's totally
dangerous.
It needs to stay in here. All right, now we're open for questions, I'd say. I'm sure everybody has a lot of questions. I could go on.
There's a question here. Where's the microphone?
I have a question for Mr. Baumgartner.
Yes,
of course, during your jump, all time you was looking at your Zénith watch, and but besides of this, you had to do many things in your brain to think about a lot of things and so on. What particular was your physical feeling during this jump? Was it something special, something different, like in your other jumps, or when you reached this limit, or it was something special? What was on your mind during all these seconds? Thank you.
It was definitely special because you have to keep in mind as soon as you step off, within the first 40 seconds, you accelerate to 1,350 kilometers an hour, which is super fast. You know, while I was doing this, I started to spin, and it was a very violent spin. I think it was 25 rotations, which at almost 3.6 Gs, and I had a lot of problems to stop that spin because the thing is, you cannot practice for supersonic speed. You either go for it or you don't. So as soon as it happens, you have to find a solution, and you have about 30 seconds to find out what to do. And there's no protocol. That means you have to move in your arms and legs really slow in order to find out how to stop this. And you cannot stick your arm out like this because at 1,350 kilometers an hour, it will ramp up so fast that the blood inside your body has only one way to leave your body, and that's, well, the eyeballs. It means that kills you, and that was my intention when I was spinning like hell, how to stop that spin while the whole world was watching.
Thank you.
Herr Baumgartner, haben Sie nach dem Sprung, und wir reden ja hier über Zeit, ein anderes Gefühl von Zeit bekommen?
Meine Zeit ist weniger geworden, ja.
Let's quickly maybe translate this for everyone.
Oh, okay.
The question was if Felix got another feeling for time ever since the jump.
Well, I said I have less time now because I'm constantly on the road talking to people, so time is running every day.
Even though you live in Switzerland. Yes, please.
Yes, hello to everybody. Talking about human limits, this is also a personal question. What do you think, Felix? Is it someday possible to break your record?
Oh yeah, I think records are meant to be broken, you know, and there's always somebody who stands up, and, you know, and it never stops. Because if you look back at Joe Kiddinger's record, at that time they thought nobody will break it for a long time, and they were almost right, because for 52 years nobody was able to break Joe Kiddinger's record. And a lot of people tried, a lot of people failed. Some of these people, they died trying, you know, but then 50 years later it needs the right company, the right attitude, the right team, and then it is possible. The only thing that I hope is it takes another 52 years to break my record.
Any other questions?
I like it. I can see who's important there. You know, questions only for you.
Okay, so I have the last question. Talking about the team, it's been 5 intense years of a huge team. I wonder, do you miss the people? Do you even see them?
Oh yeah, I mean, on all my projects that I've done the last 25 years, it's always the same thing, you know, you work so close together, you develop the relationship, you become friends, and then as soon as you accomplish something, everybody separates, everybody goes back to their daily routine, and that's kind of bad, you know. This is the reason why this time I said, hey, listen guys, we have been working together for 5 years, we did
How
something.
many people? How about the whole team, all in all, just so we have a bit of a...
Well, on the actual day of the jump, we flew in 360 people from all over.
And that was the max?
That was the max.
Okay.
But that was not the core group, you know. The core group was about 14 to 20 people. So I said, hey, let's celebrate New Year's Eve together. Because I wanted to see you guys, no pressure suit, no capsule, no job, no nothing, just hang out, drink a good glass of wine, play billiards, and having fun. That's what we did this year. We celebrated New Year, Joe Kiddinger, the whole team. And I think it's really interesting because when you see people doing a job and then you see the same type of people without having a job, they're all different. You know, they all brought their wives, their kids, and we became a big family. And I think this really matters.
Thank you very much, both of you. Thank you very much. Now we have the opportunity to have an apéro here, and maybe we get the chance to, or you guys get the chance to talk in person to my two nice misters here next to me. And after that we will have buses going back to the fair till I think till 7 o'clock, so don't you worry, have a glass and enjoy it. Thank you very much everyone. Nice